Does it hold up as a remake? And the answer is yes, it does. It's close to the original instead of an irrelevant cash grab with no similarities other than 5 lions merging into a robot. It's also taking what was essentially a rather generic Monster of the Week mecha series and improves everything. Better animation, ongoing plot, not reusing the same structure in every episode, and it even has a few side quests to flavor the otherwise straightforward objective. It's a show you can easily binge watch since you don't get the exact same thing in every episode, and most characters are not simply defined by a couple of quirks. Is it an amazing cast? No, it's pretty standard, but it definitely doesn't make you feel like you know everything there is to be said about them after a couple of episodes. Something is constantly being added in backdrop information, or they begin using new abilities. In fact, there is so much to be explored that you're not going to get the whole picture in only 12 episodes. There is always something going on. It can be funny or tragic or action-oriented, and it never overstays its welcome. As an added bonus, there is a lot of CGI and it doesn't suck ass like it does in modern anime. You can enjoy it as a well-animated spectacle instead of a low-budget eye cancer. If there are any negatives I can think of, the biggest one would be how black and white everything is. You know who are heroic and who are villainous right away, plus the story is always favoring the good guys as liberators, while not giving any characterization for the bad guys other than being megalomaniacs who enslave planets and mine them to death just because. There is also the usual last moment save where something constantly happens exactly when the heroes are about to lose. A lot of the tension is gone once you realize how cheap most of the victories are. It's not a devastating problem, but it's certainly preventing Voltron from being anything more than a kid-friendly action show. Of course, if it was not doing that, it would be straying off too much from the original and it would no longer be feeling like Voltron. I was okay with minor changes, such as the appearance of humanoids from other planets. It was making it a bit more plausible this way. The addition of a cross-dresser in the main cast, on the other hand, was stretching it. It's there just for appealing to the homos and the feminists. It adds nothing in series, and thus I didn't like it. The comic relief mice were silly, but at least they were in the original. Cross-dressers were not. They are just riding a trend, and that makes it cringy.
It was fine up to the point Lothar appears, but after that the plot became a complete mess. The problems began with main characters leaving the team. I understand the need to give a personal quest to each one of them, and isolating them from the rest can give them a focus and individuality. But how is that supposed to work when all 5 of them are needed for the robot to combine? The show is called Voltron, so you can't have Voltron if all 5 of them are not at the same place. The very premise of the show does not allow for the members to come and go without ruining the point of having a team. It made everyone to be a fodder in their own show. Not to mention how it ruined the concept of teamwork. Half the duration of the first seasons was invested on them learning how to be a team, and just like that it doesn't matter anymore. And guess what they did to give each character individuality after they nerfed their importance as vital pilots? Here comes progressiveness! I could tolerate Peach being a cross-dresser because it was there since the beginning, but then Shiro became gay and Lance became bisexual and Allura kept being in love with a different person every 3 episodes, and Kate left the team to become an anti-hero, and there was an evil clone and a ghost and a teleporting wolf. What is this mess? It made everything to feel like a cringy sitcom with random plot twists. And the audience responded accordingly. From a point on, nobody cared about the epic space adventure to save the universe from a destructive evil empire. All the talking was about shipping and the characters' feels. There was even a point the creators were sent threatening messages to make certain gay couples canon, or something nasty would happen. And just like that, there goes the show I loved at first. The consistency was completely gone. The initial objective was constantly getting sidetracked for a dozen mini-quests that kept popping up, and almost none of them were remotely interesting. They go to alternative realities at some point, which doesn't go anywhere. Then more bases and robots are created, which doesn't add anything. Then the main characters keep changing, which doesn't change something. I get how they were trying to keep the cast grey by having all this chaos, but it was done at the expense of plot progression. There was very little to keep you watching. All this mess became apparent in the final season, which was rushed as hell. Things were coming and going so fast you were giving no reason to care. It's like the writers gave up. They knew nobody cared about the show anymore and were doing whatever came to mind just to be over with it. No matter how epic they tried to make the final showdown, how tragic they made the witch, how catastrophic it would be if they didn't stop her, there was no emotional response from the audience. Nobody cared after 5 seasons of cringe-worthy rom-com full of progressive relationships. The one who died at the finale had no emotional impact because the plot was completely random at that point. Anything could happen and it would mean nothing. They just killed someone for a sad ending. There was no logical in-story reason for it. And then the gay dude gets married to a guy we've never seen before in the epilogue, because that's the last image you wanna have from a show that began as an epic space action adventure. Once again, progressiveness destroyed a very promising cartoon. Voltron should have been half as long, and should have remained an epic space action adventure. The second they threw away the initial hook and made it a progressive rom-com, it became dumpster fire just like all the rest of them.